Our movie begins with a small family in a resort spending their vacation, but let's first get to know them before we see their luck. The father's name is Ben, the mother is Louise, and their daughter Agnes. They are sitting happily, then a guy comes and asks to take the chaise longue next to them. Ben keeps following him until he sees him going to his family. They keep seeing them everywhere they go, and one by one the two families get to know each other. The father's name is Buddy, the mother is Kira, his son Ain't, and Agnes get along with each other. He tells them that their son has a speech problem because he was born with a small tongue, and that's why he's always silent. If he speaks, no one understands them. They know that they've just come to a new London, and each one talks about his work and himself. Anyway, they spend a fun week together. When Ben and Louise return home, Ben tells her that he lost his job and was very depressed, so she comforts him with words and tells him that, sure, he will find another job. And she shows him a picture they took with the other family and tells him that they sent them this picture and invited them to spend a week on their farm. Ben found an opportunity to change his mood, but Louise told him that they are a nice family, yes, but we still don't know them to stay with them for a week. It's not possible that they will turn out to be crazy. But when she remembered that Agnes was happy with Ente, their son changed her mind and told him let's go and try, and they actually packed their things and travel, and the road was very long. And the night was falling on them, and they didn't know if they were walking right or wrong until they find the statue that Bada told them about, and they were finally able to reach there. Farman, Batty, and Kira receive them the best reception, but she is shocked at the house and finds it sitting on the other side, and also the room they will sleep in was very small, and when she takes Agnes to Ente's rooms, he gets upset. When she knows that she will sleep on the floor, and also that Ain is not happy with Agnes' presence and was avoiding them all the time, and when dinner comes, Kira tells them that you are special guests. And that is why we decided to dispense with our gooses so that we can have dinner with it, and Beatty cuts a piece of it and gives it to Louise. And although she was a vegetarian, but honestly his hand was not embarrassed, and when Ben goes out to throw out the trash, they are surprised he tries to say something, but Ben does not understand. And then Beatty comes out and calls him, and when he enters the house, Ben asks him, do you not have neighbors here? He tells him now I like to sit alone away from people, and Ben tells them that he is a doctor. But Louise was surprised by his behavior. What kind of doctor is she who smokes rolled cigarettes all the time? And also when she goes to sleep, she finds the bed stained and is disgusted and tells Ben that she regrets coming here. But Ben tells her this the normal way we live in the countryside is different from ours. And he tells her to try to adapt and sleep. And the devil was thinking to play with his mind since they are alone. But he's surprised by Agnes when she enters and tells them that she does not know how to sleep upstairs. And Louis takes him in her arms, and they sleep with a barrier between them. The next morning, Buddy takes them and makes them go out a little. And when they sit to rest, Agnes calls Louise and tells her that Ain't does not want to move from his place and she wants to swing. And he senses that there is a problem and gets up to see them. And when she tells him to tell Ain't to move away, a little he gets angry with him and thinks that he will push Agnes too, and Louise gets tired of his way with him. And when he finds her holding her neck, he knows her treatment and takes it so that they jump in the water and tells her that the cold water will relieve it. And Louis notices bruises on Kira's body. And when Buddy asks her, he tells her that she lost her balance while she was on the tree collecting apples. Anyway, my dear, everyone gets up and jumps under except Louis and Kira, and they see Ain't from above while he is drowning, and she tells Kira to follow him quickly. But she is surprised when she tells her it's okay with him. And we know, my dear, that Ain't doesn't know how to swim, and she gets nervous from their way and their actions, and she doesn't want to jump. And when she returns to the farm, the hairdryer explodes in her hands. So she gets more and more angry and tells Laban that she wants to go back home. And she tells him that they will take pain her neck, meaning like an excuse so that they go back home. But they find Kira entering and she tells them to prepare themselves because she invited them to dinner, and she keeps tempting them with the restaurant's chef and the beauty of the place. And of course, they agree to go with them, and when they get ready, they are surprised by a guy who comes to sit with the kids, and he still doesn't talk. But it tells them that this time Batty was shocked when he was in the war, and they know that they will go with the four of them, but without their kids. So Louise gets upset but doesn't want to talk, and on the way she was upset with Batty's driving. But Batty and Kira were two crazy people, and they fit each other. They arrive at a restaurant and go inside, and Louise is surprised when she finds it every normal restaurant, and she continues sitting with them against their will at that time. Aint was playing with Agnes, and they get pulled out and go to Beatty's room, and Aint trying to tell her something, but she wasn't able to understand him. So he takes out one of the watches and shows her that his name is printed on it, but she still doesn't understand him. So Peter removes the watch in its place before those sitting with them saw him. Beatty was telling them about his miserable childhood, and he was sad while talking about his family, and he told them that the best decision you can make is not to have a child, so that he does not grow up miserable and complex like his father and his its. And thanks Kira in front of them, and he tells them that she is the one who saved him from the misery he was in, and they know that they have been together for 7 years. And when they finished their sitting, Bada said to Ben thank you for dinner and dressed him for dinner and left him and walked away. As for Aint, he wakes up Agnes from her sleep and lifts his clothes and wipes the bruises on his body, but she still did not understand anything from him. And when they felt that their family entered on them, they pretended to be asleep quickly, and Louise enters her room and finds Ben reading a book, and he tells her that Body told him to read it. So she says to him, "What is your story with Body? You are missing entering to sleep and know it." He hugged her and got annoyed and said to her, "What are you saying? You keep belittling me." And he opened up to her, my dear, in the old, the new, and the used ones, and he thought about all her mistakes. I see that he caught her before while she was cheating on him. She told him, "You're opening up about the past. We closed this topic 6 months ago. I changed my whole life for you. I left my job and everything I love for you. You weren't doing your duty. I no longer know if you're with me because you love me or because you don't want to feel like you failed in your relationship." And Body listens, and they see each other reconciling. Ben apologizes to her and tells her that he's trying to fix the relationship, but she tells him, "Let's be better friends." At night, she goes to check on Agnes, but she doesn't find her in her room. She quickly goes down to look for her until she finds her sleeping next to Kira. She carries it comfortably and enters her room and pulls it and says to him, "We have to leave from here now." And they know that her daughter was in Kira's arms, and they actually gather their things and leave. But on the way, Agnes tells them that she forgot her rabbit, and tells them that she doesn't know how to sleep without it. "Oh lady, leave the rabbit alone now. Let's run away." There's no way from him, my dear. She didn't want to move without him, and she tells them that they will do to him what they did to you. And of course, my dear, they are forced to go back for the sake of the rabbit. If a focused and strong-willed mother would have appreciated the seriousness of the situation and wouldn't have listened to her. Anyway, when they go down to see the rabbit, they find Buddy awake, and he was upset because they left without greeting them. And when Kira woke up, she asked them about the reason for Ben's walking. He said that Agnes doesn't know how to sleep on the floor, but Louis gets upset and tells her that she won't perform. She got upset when she saw Kira taking Agnes next to her, and this is not a very nice behavior. You are not her mother to do this. She apologized to her and told her that she heard Agnes calling them, but they were asleep. She went to her and hugged her. She cried and told her that she couldn't stop herself because she had a daughter, but she passed away. She cried too and told her that she didn't know. Agnes entered with her rabbit and told her that Ente was the one who found it and was trying. Ente speaks, but he still doesn't know. He tells them that he is upset because they are leaving and asks them to sit with them for a while. They agree and sit. Ante writes something on a piece of paper and shows it to Agnes, but she still can't read it. When he finds Kira coming towards him, he quickly takes the paper and eats. Agnes is surprised by what he did and takes Louise aside and tells her mess on what he did, but Kira calls them and interrupts their conversation at the same time. Benny was fishing with Buddy, and Buddy tells him that he heard his words with Louise yesterday. "I know that I have no right to interfere in your relationship, but I knew that she cheated on you." Benny gets upset and tells him that she didn't do anything in reality. It was just messages, nothing more. He tells him that this is also betrayal, and betrayal hurts. And he takes him to a high place and tells him to get what's in your heart out, and they both keep screaming loudly. When they return, they all sit down to eat, and Kira keeps commenting on Agnes's actions while eating, and Louise gets upset and tells her, "You're not her mother. I'm her mother. I don't like anyone telling her what to do and what not to do." After a while, Agnes and Anne get up and dance a dance that they learned together. But Buddy gets angry when he finds that Anne isn't dancing well, and makes him keep repeating the dance a lot, until Louise gets annoyed by his way and Agnes. She gets scared and runs to her, and they are afraid of Buddy's anger. And they read that they were. They walk, but Ben tells her that he drank a lot, and tells her that he will drink coffee first to wake up, and leaves Buddy and goes to sleep. And Kira keeps begging them not to leave before Buddy wakes up, and she tells Louise that he will get angry with her, and ain't if they wake up and if he doesn't find you, and Louise decides to stay for their sake. The second time, the chance to survive is lost. But Ain't withdraws and goes in and takes the key from Buddy and goes out and pretends to play with the ball with Agnes until he throws the ball to a far place and opens a small pen in hand. Agnes go in and show her a secret hiding place that belongs to Buddy, and here, my dear, was the shock. Buddy, my dear, was almost born in an insane a mentally ill person who makes fun of families and almost does the same thing he did with Ben and Louise with many families, and makes fun of the man, locks them up in the farm, and also takes their children from the man, shows them that picture. His real family at that time, Betty and Kira, were with them another one, and ain't able to understand what Agnes did to him, and tells her that it her turn and her family's turn, and makes her take all the pictures to show them to her family. And when they go out, Ain't goes to return the key, but finds Batty awake, so he gets out of it to carry it, and is actually able to return the key to its place, while Agnes pretends that she has finally reached the age of puberty, and takes Louise and goes into the bathroom and shows her the pictures and learns their truth and gets more and more nervous and afraid, and goes out and calls Ben Hinters and also knows what happened, and they decide to act naturally, and they decided to leave, and they take Agnes' excuse as a chances they can leave, and Louis finds Cutter and she assures herself with him, and when they goot they fight talking on the phone, and he tells them that Agnes has grown up and that she is shocked because it is the first time, and he knows that they have to leave now because Agnes is nervous, and when they goot to get in their cart they find the tire taking in a pan, and they pretend not notice, and the most important thing was to get out of the farm. But Buddy tells them that the tire is asleep, and he tells Bento going with him to get them the tools, and he actually goes in with him, and he was scared, and I mean he went with him. He trembles and they bring the tools, and he actually makes the tire for him, and they greet them, and he goes to Agnes, and he was afraid that they would leave him, so she says to him, Agnes tells them to come back to him again. And before they leave, Ben asks Int to open the gate for them, of course because he was going to take him and run. But Buddy calls him, and he returns and opens the gate with the remote he has with him. And before they go out of the gate, Buddy pushes Int into the lake, and Ben quickly stops and gets down to save him. And before Louise gets out in the car, Buddy closes the gate again and takes her and threatens Ben with them. And they enter the equipment room, and he makes Louise transfer all the money in their accounts to him. And he tells them that he brought them a car purchase, and that next week they will send it to the owner of the house they rented from. And he will know that they will travel abroad, and he will send the same message to Agnes's school and all your neighbors. Ben tells him, I will do anything for you, but don't hurt my family. So he tells him, if you loved them, you would have run away and left Int in the lake with his family. He prepares the drug to give them, but as soon as he gets close to Louise, he learns to use the cutter, and the syringe falls. Agnes takes it, and Kira gets distracted, and Louise takes the gun from her, and Kira keeps begging Louise to take it with her, and tells her that she was one of Buddy's victims, and that he took her from her family when she was Agnes's age. But Ben, he takes them, and they go outside and locks them up. And when they get in the car, they find Jack, the restaurant owner, coming towards them. So they go back and hide inside the house, and Jack goes and opens the door for Buddy and Kira. And before the police answer, Louise, he calls Sharon. They get scared and lock all the doors, and Louise sees a picture of the farm and tells Bent that they can leave from the back door, but he refuses and tells her that they have weapons, and he gets nervous and keeps saying, I don't know what to do. But Louise wakes him up and tells him, this is not the time for shocks. I kiss your hand and your daughter, we need you, and suddenly the lights go out on the man. Buddy keeps calling them, and he was playing songs loudly, so Ben decides to set the roof of the farm on fire. because it is made of straw, and he says that someone might see the fire and come save the man. When he goes out to do that, Jack hits the man, they run again, and Louise hits Jack with the gun. But the bottle rolls and falls on the chair, and Louise takes Agnes and hides. The man tells them not to come out there unless they hear her voice only. And Jack goes up the stairs to enter through the window above, and Ben hears a voice on the ceiling and goes up to see the story, as well as Buddy manages to break the door and enter. And when Louise hears his voices, she takes anything to defend herself with, and when he tries to open the door of the room, she throws a fork at it and finds Kira. She tries to enter through the other door and quickly goes up to the room above, and Buddy enters, and he opens the door for Kira, and Kira keeps calling and says to him, "If I know where you are, I will let you live with me," with Agnes on the other side. Buddy was looking for the man before he catches them. Louise comes out and sprays a substance in his face, and his face burns, and he keeps screaming. And Kira comes down at the sound and doesn't have time to hit them. And Buddy tells her to go after the man, finish them off in the meantime. Ben sees Jack and tries to hit him, but he's very weak and can't do it, and before he gets angry on his eye, Louisa saves him, and they go up and see the ladder and decide to escape from it quickly, and they all goop and are on the roof. The house, and Kira comes out after the man sees it, and she was hesitant to kill them. But Louise doesn't hesitate and hits her, and she falls from above and dies. And Ben jumps after her to put the ladder down. For the man, they all go down, and before they move, they hear a voice coming towards them. But they are surprised that he's a fox. But they find Buddy coming from the other side with Agnes, and he believes her when he sees Kira dead. And when Louise begs him not to hurt her, he tells her that he can't hurt her. "You took Kira from me, and Agnes will stay in her place." And he was about to hit her, but Agnes stabs him with a drug injection, and he falls to the ground immediately. And they take each other and walk. But Ain repeats to take his right and the right of his family. And he is the one who finished him off and gets in. The car was with them, and his eyes were full of tears, and it was a black vacation on their heads, so that we can stop sitting with people we don't know. And the movie ends like this, my dear. And don't forget to tell me your opinion in a comment, and I will see you in the next movie.